We thank God once again for just another week that we're able to come to the house of the Lord and give Him glory, praise His name, to uplift Him and to magnify Him before this dying world that we live in.
Oh, yeah.
If you have your Bibles today, go with me to the book of Psalms. Actually, Psalms 90. Psalms 90. Psalms 90. I'm going to go down. I'm going to start reading at verse 10. Read a couple, 2 or 3 verses. Psalms 90 and 10 begins with this. It says that the days of our years are 80 years and 10. And if by reason of strength they be 80 years, yet is their strength, labor, and sorrow, for it is soon cut off, and we fly away. It says, who knoweth the power of thine anger, even according to thy fear, so is thy wrath. Number 12 is a focal verse. It says, so teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. Teach us to number our days, that we may apply our hearts unto wisdom. You may be seated. If you take the time to read this chapter 9, and even from the little bit I read, you find out that it deals with life. Living life, according to that verse 12. But if you're going to live a life, I want to talk about today, you ought to live a life worth living. Just living don't get you. Need to live a life worth living. And so in order to deal with this, Moses, when he wrote this, you're going to find out that when you talk about life, and inevitably you're going to have to deal with death.
Oh, yeah.
And death is a subject we don't like to talk about unless it's at a homegoing or a memorial service. But death is something that we need to learn how to deal with on a daily basis.
Yes, sir.
And so as I looked at this, I come by that as we grow older, that the brevity and the frailty of life becomes increasingly real to us. You know, we don't think much about life or death when we're young, but it seems as we get older, the reality of it comes, and the brevity or the briefness of it, and the frailness of these bodies or these tents or these dwellings that we have becomes more relevant. You didn't hardly think about no aching joints too much when you was young, but as you got older, Arthur visited your life, and you found out sometimes your hands didn't move the way they used to move, or cramps came where cramps didn't used to come, and ache started aching that didn't used to ache. But it's this brevity and frailty of life that becomes more real to us. And so when we look back on our lives and wonder where the years have gone and how they have flown by so quickly, because as you get older, you understand how life has really flown by. It's something about when you're young, Lenore, that you see somebody that's 50 or 60 and you talk about how old they are. And I had an experience myself. I used to be younger, right? And I would see my dad and you know, he was older, gentleman. And so one day I was in the bathroom washing my face, and I washed my face, and when I looked up, I saw my dad, and it wasn't that long ago that I was talking about how old he was, and then time went by, and I looked, and there he was in the mirror.
That's it. Hallelujah. Yes, sir.
It seems that we are hastening toward death, and with the days speeding by faster than ever before. But the thing I'm trying to get to here is, sadly, many people will shed bitter tears of regret over words spoken or not spoken. They'll shed bitter tears over deeds done or deeds not done. And they'll have days that have gone by that they'll look back and realize they cannot relive. Oh, you got to understand this thing. You see, this Psalms 90, it mourns a brevity, it mourns frailty and the end of human life. You see, it's the only inspired psalm. If you study this, you'll find out that it's the only inspired psalm written by Moses. And so it makes it the oldest psalm in the book of Psalms. You got to understand, it deals with themes that began with the fall of our first parents, talking about Adam and Eve and the fall of the world, and continue to be important and puzzling until the return of our Savior. You see, there's some puzzling things in here. So this psalm that we are looking at today displays an eternal God versus frail humans. It expresses a holy God versus sinful man. It expresses life and death. Oh, y'all gonna stay with me? You see, the meaning of life in a confused and a difficult world that we live in. And so with this brevity of life and the certainty of death in a clearer focus than ever before, Moses' heart was heavy for the people who would waste the rest of their days wandering in the wilderness.
Yes, sir.
You got to understand, life was not easy for Moses, and we understand that life is not easy. But he triumphed. You got to understand that the victory is yours. The battle's not yours. The victory is yours. Moses' life wasn't easy, but he triumphed. And in this song, he shared his insight so that we too might have strength for the journey, that the journey might end well. And so if you're wise, you'll adopt this prayer that Moses put in this psalm. You'll adopt it for yourself. And not only will it help us prepare for eternity, but it will also help us to live wisely. Least we'll be like the rebellious Israelites. We won't want to waste our lives in disobedience and disbelief. And so if you're going to live a life, you got to get things together so that you live a life that's worth living. Moses began his prayer by acknowledging God's great love and faithful care for his people. And so that's one thing we need to bring into our own life, is that we need to acknowledge God's love and care, understanding that he is our dwelling. He is our dwelling. He is our place. He is our refuge. He is our home. He is our oasis of love and security. You see, so understanding that we are travelers and God is our home. You see, we're in this world. We're not of this world. You see, God is our dwelling place. God is our refuge. God is our home. And so David even said, he said, for we are aliens and pilgrims before you as we're our Father. So we're just on this journey, traveling through a foreign land, trying to get back home. And so you can't get caught up in all of the things of this world. You can't get caught up in all of the things that go on around you. You got to learn how to let God handle some stuff. And you got to learn that when it feels like things are falling apart, that you serve a God that's going to keep your life together, that you serve a God that is your refuge. When you start to feel afraid, God is your refuge. He is your strong tower. He is your protection. He is your strength. He is your might. And God is able. God is able. You see, you got to understand, as mortals, life is a pilgrimage. It's a pilgrimage from birth to death. As they say, from the cradle to the grave. Life is this pilgrimage that we're on. And for believers, it's a journey from earth to heaven. That's what you got to keep your mind stayed on. I'm just going through this earthly thing so that I can get to my heavenly home. I got a house not made with hands. I got a house not made with hands. I'm on this journey, and it's a tedious journey. But I realize this ain't gonna last always. I'm just passing through. I'm just passing through. You got passing through. But we got to understand this tedious journey, Sister Chamber. You got to understand and not fool yourself that the road is not an easy road to travel. You see, life is not easy. I'm not sitting here telling you that life is easy. I'm standing here to tell you the truth this morning. It's not an easy road that you're on. The songwriter said it's a tedious journey. You're going to have some struggle. You're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. Bad days and good days. It's not easy. It's like that we even looking at Moses, you see, for 80 years, for 80 years, Moses lived a somewhat settled life. First in Egypt and then in Midian. But after that, he spent 40 years. 40 years in the wilderness.
Oh, yeah.
Leading a funeral march. He spent 40 years in the wilderness leading a funeral march, leading and listening to a nation of complaining former slaves who didn't always want to appreciate his leadership.
Yes, sir.
Oh, you see, you got to learn. Somebody already said it. Believe me, I didn't tell them to say it. You got to learn how to appreciate leadership. Somebody should have been in church service at 3 o'clock last Sunday when the preacher talked about God sends preachers. Unless you one of them like with Saul that you want to pick your own. And he said, if you want to pick your own, you find yourself in trouble. But if God sent you a preacher, you got to understand that's what you got to decide in your life. Did you choose on your own or did God send? Oh, I wish chapel would have been there at 3 o'clock last Sunday. You talking about a sermon. If I could have got the CD, I would have just played it this morning and sit down and listen to it with y'all. You see, that's what's wrong with too many churches today. They got the preacher that they chose. It wasn't the one that God sent. And that's why there's so much trouble going in the church. That's why preachers is going in and out of doors like revolving doors. Because people ain't taking time to wait upon the Lord to send them a man of God. Oh, he talked about how they chose Saul, wanted Saul, when he told him you don't need nobody. But he said, when I went down and got David, he said, I sent you a man after my own heart. Saul messed you up. Saul got you all confused. But David came in. So that's your decision. Do you think your preacher God sent? Or do you think you picked him?
Yes, sir.
But you can usually figure that out. Because if you picked him, he's doing everything you tell him to do.
Yes, sir.
Are y'all going to help me this morning? You got to understand. You got to understand. You look through Numbers 33, you find names of 42 different places that Israel camped during their journey. But it's just to show you how long they wandered in the wilderness because of disobedience, how long they wandered in the wilderness because of disbelief. But you understand, being a leader of somebody like that would seem to cause you to be discouraged and start to want to quit. You see, but no matter where Moses lived, and he camped in all these places with the people, no matter where Moses lived, Moses had the thing right. He was living the right life, and he knew that where they camped at wasn't his home. He knew that God was always his home. And so it don't matter where you at in this world, God is your home. You just have God with you wherever you go. And so it don't matter if I'm in a home right now of discouragement. I got God is where I'm living. I'm just in there, but God is with me. When I got stress coming up, I'm in stress, but God is with me. I'm living in the dwelling and the undercovering of God. And so I can press through stress. I can press through all these angers and attitudes. I can press through all of this stuff that's going on that's supposed to tear me up and wear me down and beat me up. I can press through this stuff because I'm not living in stress. I'm not living in complaints. I'm not living in criticism. I'm living under the anointing and the power of the God that I serve. God is the dwelling. And so you see, when he lived in the Lord, he knew how to abide in the Lord. He knew how to find strength when he found himself getting weak. He knew how to find comfort when he was feeling uncomfortable. He knew how to be encouraged living in the Lord when times was coming that were discouraging, and help for each day that was demanded. He knew that he could get it from the Lord. And so even Moses in his journey, Moses pitched a tent outside of the camp. He pitched his tent outside of the camp because sometimes you got to have a place where you can just get in the midst of God all by yourself. You see, you can come to church and sometimes church will wear you down. Sometimes the people will get you done, but you got to learn how to walk away out of church and go find that quiet place, that most secret high place, so you can get along with God. But it ain't sap your strength, but God can empower you, infuse you, build you back up, and get you ready to go back into the battle. You see, that's what we got to understand. You see, you don't have to keep running from the battle. You just got to stay charged up in the battle. You see, that's why you got to understand these things. You see, trying to run away from it, you just got to stay prayed up and powered up. You see, God didn't deliver you. Watch this, help me, Holy Spirit. God didn't deliver you out of darkness to stay out of the dark. God brought you out of the darkness that he can empower you and strengthen you so that you can go back into the dark. But you ain't going back into the dark weak and frail. You're going back into the dark strong and powerful because God needs you. He brought you out to get you ready to go back in so you can grab a hold of somebody else and bring them out. You got to keep going back and bringing people out. You can't get out here and talking about, I got mine and I'm staying in the light, walking in the light, walking in the light. You need to learn how to walk in the dark to bring somebody else into the light. Oh, you got to understand, God is powerful, God is good, and God is able. So we got to understand this here. You got to understand that this world that we in, if you understand the principle of this whole concept and realize who you are. You are a child of God. And being a child of God, we are learners, and life is our school. Oh, y'all stay with me. You see, Moses was educated in all the learning of the Egyptians, but the lesson that he learned walking with God was far more important. And so this stuff going on, it's all stuff to help you out. This trouble that you're so scared of. You see, in the school of life, verse 12, it needs to learn two important lessons. One, you got to understand that life is brief and it passes swiftly. And so you got to make the most of it. You got to live a life worth living. You see, you don't have time to waste with a whole lot of foolish stuff. You need to be doing what God needs you to do. But you all got to understand that life is difficult and at times it's going to seem futile. You understand? But this is the only way that you're going to mature. You see, become complete. In the Bible it says become perfect, not being flawless, but being mature in your walk with God. He says you got to go through some stuff. You see, people that don't never go through nothing. Kids that's growing up today don't know nothing because ain't nobody teaching them responsibility. Ain't nobody giving them chores. They don't have to cut the grass like I had to cut the grass. They don't have to wash dishes and clean up the room like we did because mama do it for them or daddy do it for them. And so they grow up with no responsibility. They don't have to get up and get a job and learn how to start buying their own shoes, and buying their own pants, buying their own design or whatever they want to wear, Jordans or whatever kicks they want to put on their feet, because all they need to do is use that magical clapper, and that's to say this or do this, and shoes just need to pop up, and the designer jeans need to pop on, and they walk through life. But see, as life goes on, life is a learning ground, because when mama ain't there and daddy's gone, they gonna get out there and they gonna want to look for some joy, and they gonna clap, but they feet still raggedy. They gonna clap, but they pants still got holes in them, and they gonna be down in payless because they don't want to work. Y'all hear me, y'all hear me, y'all hear me. But you see, you got to understand. It's about responsibility, it's about learning. This is a learning ground. And so we got to understand life is difficult at times, it's futile. And so we got to understand that we have sin in this world, and there will be no suffering and death without it. But people made of dust defy God of the universe and try to repeal the inexorable law of sin and death. But Moses reinforced one thing when he told us what God said in Genesis 3:19. He told us something really pertinent about life. He said, "For dust you are, and to dust you shall return." And so when you look in the Bible, he talks about God speaking about that life is too short. You just hear. Don't start thinking you all of that and you all of this. You just a pile of dust. You just some dirt. And when it's all over, you just gonna be real dirt. And so God took the time to mold you up and shape you up to make you look like something. And so you ought to live a life worth living while you can, because sooner or later. Oh, y'all stay with me. I'm about done. You see, while we all thank God for this modern science and the ministry of skilled medicine personnel, we cannot successfully deny the reality of death. Yes. Or neither can we delay it when it comes. You see, all of this modern technology, yet we still have no control over death. You can't stop it. It's going to come. You might have modern technology that may delay it, but one day, nothing will work, Sister Chambers. We all have a designated, assigned time and date. Yeah. You understand? And so the doctor might have saved you. It just wasn't your time. I just got by to tell you. The doctor did what he had to do. But God was the one saying, I'm just maybe trying to teach you something. I'm trying to show you something, because sometimes we forget how prevalent this death thing is. But when you done stood in the doorway of death, and watch this, we all are standing in the doorway of death. My health might be good, but death is just right there, always right there. And all the thing that's keeping it from being right here is God got a hand in between and saying, not right now, not right now. But you see, you got to understand, when God says the time is here, there ain't nothing I can do, it ain't nothing I can say, ain't no place to run, ain't no place to hide. When God lifts it up and say, your time, your time is up. And so you see, the school of life that we're in is preparation for an eternity with God. And without Him, we cannot learn our lessons. We can't pass our tests. And we can't make this progress from kindergarten and graduate school, or cradle to the grave, to eternity. We can't make it. And so God dwells in eternity. You got to understand, and it's not limited by time. You compared with eternity, even a long life is like yesterday. Oh, some folks might brag about I'm 95, but to God, you just yesterday. You got to, he said, like 1,000 years is like yesterday to God. And so we talking about these long lives. You have to understand life is short, and you're going to live life worth living. It's sad when you look around on the street and all the lives that you see that aren't worth living because they've lost, they've gotten separated. Something has happened that they gave up and they lost hope and they didn't have Jesus. And so they got out there, and so life is being not even lived. They don't live life, they exist in life. You see, there's a difference between living and existing. And so if you're going to have a life worth living, you see, you shouldn't have to get up every day suffering. But sometimes the existence that we put our own self in it. You see, you shouldn't have a bunch of bills that you never have nothing to enjoy yourself with. But how did you get there? It ain't God's fault, because God started you out even with everybody else. But somewhere down the line, you didn't make the right choices. You didn't make the right decisions. You started living above your means. You started being somebody you wanted to be, but you really were not. Somebody gave you a plastic credit card, but they didn't explain to you every 30 days. You just thought it was a magic card. And you just walk in, hey, I like that dress here. $100 here. $50 here. And then 30 days later, they sent you an envelope and you talking about what? And all of a sudden, $1,000. I ain't got no $1,000. So God says, the scripture there says this in 12. It says, so teach us to number our days that we may supply our hearts unto wisdom. And so you got to understand how it's going here. You see, this thing, this school, you got to live life and live the right type of life and live a life that's worth living. You see, foolish decisions led to 4 decades of trials and testing in the wilderness till the older generation died off. You see, they could have lived a good life, but they wanted to exist in the wilderness because of disobedience and disbelief. And so in the wilderness, they died off, except for Joshua and Caleb. So you have to understand this God we serve is slow to anger, but the repeated complaints and rebellion of his people tested even his long suffering. You see, we don't like to think about the wrath of God, but every obituary in the newspaper is a reminder that the wages of sin is death. And so God saw Israel, and God knew what Israel intended to do, and so no secrets are hidden from him.
Yes, sir.
And so we understand that this thing called sin takes toll on the human race, and so we look over the years as they go by. We finish our years like a sigh, is what the Bible says. And we marvel that it went by so fast. And so now is the time to ask God for wisdom. Wisdom to become a better student. Wisdom to become better stewards of our time, and not only our time, of our opportunities. You see, we number our years. Watch this. We number our years. But all of us have to live a day at a time. And we do not know how many days we have left.
Yes, sir.
But you understand, you get happy once a year on your birthday. And so you don't number your days, you number your years. Oh, y'all gonna help me here? I'm trying to get this broken down so y'all see what I'm trying to say. You see, you don't keep track of the day. You just keep track to the point of how many days is left to the year. Because the year is a celebration, but you ought to get up every day with a celebration. 59 in one day. 59 in 2 days. Monique. Help me. Every day ought to be a celebration. And so you got to understand that this successful life is composed of a successful days that honor the Lord. So every day that I wake up, I just want to give God the glory for just another day. I'm another day, and I just going to keep on celebrating every day. And so yes, I said before, life is a difficult school. And God disciplines us if we fail to learn our lessons or submit to his will. But as I end this, you see there's more to the story. Because so far it seems like I've been talking about death, but living life. But you see, when you get down there, in spite of the black borders around this song, the emphasis is on life, really, not death. You see, the past and present experiences of life prepare us for the future. And all of life prepares us for eternity. And so when you contrast the verses 13 through 17 with verses 7 through 12, you'll begin to see the difference. And so in the closing of this prayer, so Danny, let's close this out. The closing of this prayer emphasizes God's companion and unfailing love. His desire to give us joy and to give us satisfaction, even in the midst of life's trouble, and his ability to make life count for eternity. You see, if I'm going to live a life, I want to live a life worth living. I don't want to live in existence. I don't want to live in a constant struggle. You see, the world brings enough struggle to your life. It brings enough trouble to your life. But I see too many people, the world don't even get a chance. You go out and bring your own trouble. You self-create your own problem. You build your own issue. And I say, don't be self-inflicted in pain, because the worst pain you can ever have in your life is a self-inflicted pain, because a self-inflicted pain is a pain that you didn't have to have, but the world can bring some stuff that you got to give to God and you got to go through, because it's a learning experience of life. But I'm not going to put myself in the midst of a deep dark place when I didn't have to be there. I'm just going to let the world do what they do and let God do what he do. But you got to understand, when Jesus Christ is your Savior and Lord, you got to understand that the future you need not be afraid of, because the future becomes your friend. You see, I'm not living in the past, because the past is gone, and it's just a reflection that I can look at while I'm in the present. But you know what? I'm just living in the present, in the physical, because this is where I'm at. But I'm really not living here either. I'm living in the future, because I'm looking down the line with what God has for me. And so each morning that I wake up, I'm looking down the line. Although I'm standing here, my mind is on eternity. And so I realize that my mind being on eternity helps me to deal with the present. And when I look at the past, it helps me deal with the present, because the mistakes I made here, I should not be making them here. And surely when I leave this place, I don't want to make the mistake that hit or help the Holy Spirit. Things have got to change. I see too many people that you look at your life today, your life ain't no different than it was 10 or 20 years ago. You still walking in the same rut. You done made the rut so deep, you down over your head, and you can't see nothing but dark, because you still in the same pattern, still got the same mistake, still with the same error, got the same stress, the same mess, the same complaint, the same anxiety, the same distress, the same discouragement, the same. Oh my God. Existing in a life that God has promised you the abundance of life. He said, I've got this for you. It's here for you to enjoy. But you can't enjoy it because you're not living the life. You see, when we begin the day with the Lord and feed on his word, then we walk with him throughout the day, enjoying his blessings. You see, the nourishment of the word enables us to be faithful pilgrims and to to be successful learners. See, Moses prayed. He prayed that God would give him and his people as much joy in the future as the sorrow they had experienced in the past. So the Bible tells us, though, it tells us that the glory to come, this is why you got to live in the future. You see, if you stay right here and your mind can't see ahead, you're going to find yourself just tore up on a constant basis. But when you realize that what you're in and what lies ahead, then you can start just humming, trouble don't last always. You can start humming, how great is my God. You can start to say the things that just lift you up out of the darkness that you're in, that lift you up out of the pain that you're feeling. You can just start to praise your way out of your situation. You got to learn how to praise your way out of your situation. Because I understand that the glory to come far exceeds the suffering that we bear today. Paul said it. He said, light are our afflictions compared to the glory that lies ahead. And so if I got to go through something right now, I'm just going to go through it because I know that there's something better. I know that this is not what it is. You see, but even Moses, watch this. Moses lost his temper when he struck the rock. And his anger caused him not to be able to enter into Canaan. But look at the God we serve. He didn't get into Canaan's promised land, but he got into the promised land with Jesus. You understand? I'm trying to tell you, sometimes we bang ourselves up because we make mistakes. Well, I stopped by to tell you, no more condemnation. You got to learn how to wipe yourself off. You got to learn how to shake some stuff off. You got to learn how to not let people hold you hostage to something that went wrong. You got to learn how to back them up. You got to learn how to push them off. You got to learn how to pray your way through with strength and power. Because look what happened to Moses. He struck the rock and God said you got angry. You let your emotions get carried away. I'm going to send the not in vain. Live the life worth living. And you didn't count your years after you learned that you just need to count your days. To God be the glory. For God be the glory. To God we thank God for this day. We extend the invitation. Always, if somebody doesn't know Jesus, we extend the invitation. But besides that, we say we got time. But y'all didn't know Jesus, but whatever it is you're going through, give God the glory. Give God the praise. We can pray with one another. You know that God's been good to you. Then you need to give God the glory. You know God has been good to you. See, I just always like to make it plain and clear. Because I think as church folk, we've been indoctrinated to think that you come to the altar only when you got trouble. Because we always talk about come to the altar and cast your cares. We come to the altar talk about to lay your burdens down. How about just dancing to the altar? To tell God how wonderful and great He is. Just coming to the altar. Because I want to tell God, I don't have no sickness in my body. I'm just dancing to the altar. I don't have no trouble with my family, so I'm dancing to the altar. My finances are good. Because I want to dance to the altar. In other words, God, I'm trying to tell you, you're being mighty good to me. And I ain't coming up here to beg for nothing. I ain't coming up here to beg for no healing. I ain't coming up here to beg for no financial. I ain't coming up here to beg for nothing. I just come because I want to just thank you and be dancing. And like David danced, I'm just so happy that you my God and that you taking such good care of me with your loving kindness, with your grace and your mercy. And I just feel like I need to be here and just say you deserve it. All that I can give. And so here at this altar is just another part of my praise. And I come to just say thank you for being God and God all by yourself. And I can't give nobody else the credit. I'm giving it all to you. All to you. And so we thank God for this morning. Thank God for this morning. And we can just come once again boldly before the throne of grace to say unto you, my God, my God, my God, you're such a great and wonderful God. To you